Hello and welcome to India This Week. In the next half an hour, we take you closer to the big stories of the week, stories that map the rise of new India, developments that portray how India is on the move despite all hurdles and challenges, glimpses of the rich cultural diversity that make incredible India a living reality. I'm Munmin Bhattacharya. Let's begin with the top stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launches two innovative customer-centric initiatives of RBI, says Retail Direct scheme allows investors to buy and sell government securities online, leading to greater financial inclusion, while Integrated Ombudsman scheme brings customer grievance redressal mechanism under one portal, leading to the realization of One Nation, One Ombudsman system. PM Modi lays foundation stone of four-laning of key sections of Sant Dhyaneshwar Maharaj Palki Marg and Sant Tukaram Maharaj Palki Marg in Pandharpur in Maharashtra, inaugurates multiple road projects, says he hopes that Pandharpur will emerge as one of the top religious destinations of India. Third Regional Security Dialogue on Afghanistan adopts Delhi Declaration. Participating nations express support for a peaceful, secure and stable Afghanistan, strongly condemn terrorism in all forms and manifestations, agree that Afghan territory should not be used for sheltering, training, planning or financing acts of terrorism. President Ram Nath Kovind confers the Padma Awards at a ceremonial function at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Former ministers late Sushma Swaraj, Arun Jaitley and George Fernandes awarded with Padma Vibhushan posthumously. Manohar Parrikar awarded with the Padma Bhushan, among other eminent personalities. PM says, let's seek inspiration from the winners who come from diverse backgrounds. And the International Film Festival of India announces the selection of films for the Indian Panorama section to be screened during its 52nd edition in Goa. 24 feature films selected to be screened during IFFI. Festival features some of the best films of the year, 15 films to compete for the Golden Peacock and other awards. First up, a look at how India is on the move. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi this week virtually laid the foundation stone for road projects and dedicated various highway and road projects aimed at improving connectivity to the temple town of Pandharpur in Maharashtra. The projects are designed to facilitate pilgrims' journey to Pandharpur, a town associated with Sant Tukaram and Sant Dhyaneshwar. On the occasion, the Prime Minister urged devotees to plant trees, make drinking water arrangements and make Pandharpur the cleanest place of pilgrimage. Here are some of the takeaways from the ceremony.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone and dedicated various national highway and road projects to the nation through video conference. Prime Minister laid the foundation stone of Sri Sant Dhyaneshwar Maharaj Palki Marg and Sant Tukaram Maharaj Palki Marg. The construction of Sri Sant Dhyaneshwar Maharaj Palki Marg will be done in 5 phases, and the construction of Sant Tukaram Maharaj Palki Marg will be completed in 3 phases. Prime Minister said that these projects will lead to better connectivity with the region and paid his respects to devotees, saints and Lord Vittal for their blessings for the projects.
हम जब पंढरपुर जैसे अपने तीर्थों का विकास करते हैं तो उससे केवल सांस्कृतिक प्रगति ही नहीं होती, पूरे क्षेत्र के विकास को बल मिलता है। जो सड़कें यहां चौड़ी हो रही हैं, जो नए हाईवे स्वीकृत हो रहे हैं, उसमें यहां धार्मिक पर्यटन बढ़ेगा, नए रोजगार आएंगे और सेवा अभियानों को भी गति मिलेगी।
Reflecting on the spiritual richness of India, Prime Minister said that for him, the service to Pandharpur is service to Sri Narayan Hari. He said this is the land where the Lord resides even today for the sake of the devotees. This is the land about which Sant Namdev Ji Maharaj has said that Pandharpur was there when the world was not even created.
मैं भविष्य में पंढरपुर को भारत के सबसे स्वच्छ तीर्थ स्थलों में देखना चाहता हूं। हिंदुस्तान में जब भी कोई देखे कि भाई सबसे स्वच्छ तीर्थ स्थल कौन सा है, तो सबसे पहले नाम मेरे विठोबा का, मेरे विठल की भूमि का, मेरे पंढरपुर का होना चाहिए। ये चीज मैं आपसे चाहता हूं और ये काम भी जन भागीदारी से ही होगा। जब स्थानीय लोग स्वच्छता के आंदोलन का नेतृत्व अपनी कमान में लेंगे, तभी हम इस सपने को साकार कर पाएंगे।
The Prime Minister said that the court of Lord Whittle is open to everyone. He added that when I say Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, the same sentiment is behind it. This spirit inspires us for the development of the country, takes everyone along, inspires us for the development of all. The Prime Minister noted that the speciality of India is that from time to time in different regions, such great personalities kept emerging and showing the direction for the country. Commenting on the social significance of the Warkari movement, the Prime Minister singled out the participation of women in the Yatra with the same zeal as men as the key feature of the tradition. With Yogesh Sheetal from Pandharpur, DD India.
National security advisors or secretaries of security councils from Afghanistan's neighbors, with the notable exceptions of China and Pakistan, gathered in New Delhi this week for the Delhi Regional Security Dialogue for Afghanistan. They discussed the security and humanitarian situation in Taliban-ruled Afghanistan and reached a common understanding on the way forward amid a deepening humanitarian crisis there. Convened less than 3 months after the withdrawal of the last US and Western forces from Kabul, the dialogue was attended by representatives from the host India, Iran, Russia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. Here's more on what transpired at the dialogue.
India hosted the Delhi Regional Security Dialogue on Afghanistan on Wednesday. This is the third regional dialogue in the NSA Secretaries of Security Council format on the subject of Afghanistan. The other two were hosted by Iran prior to the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan. This is the first meeting since the Taliban takeover and is also the first time all Central Asian countries, not just Afghanistan's immediate land neighbors, are participating in this format. Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyz Republic, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan participated in the dialogue. The Delhi Declaration expressed deep concern over suffering of Afghan people and condemned terrorist attacks in Kunduz, Kandahar and Kabul. It stressed on the necessity of forming an open, truly inclusive government representing the will of all Afghan people. Inclusion of all sections of society and administrative and political structure also found place in the declaration. It condemned in the strongest terms all terrorist activities. The leaders reiterated strong support for a peaceful, secure and stable Afghanistan respecting its sovereignty, unity and territorial integrity, non-interference in its internal affairs. Afghan territory should not be used for sheltering, training, planning and financing terrorist acts. Reaffirmed firm commitment to combat terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, combat terror financing, work towards dismantling of terrorist infrastructure, counter radicalization and ensure Afghanistan never becomes a safe haven for global terrorism, collective cooperation against radicalization, extremism, separatism and drug trafficking. Fundamental rights of women, children and minority communities should not be violated. Provide urgent humanitarian assistance to people of Afghanistan. Humanitarian assistance should be unimpeded, direct and assured. Provide assistance to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in Afghanistan. Host NSA Ajit Doval pointed out the importance of close consultations and greater cooperation among the regional countries. He hoped the deliberations would contribute to helping the people of Afghanistan.
We all have been keenly watching the developments in that country. These have important implications not only for the people of Afghanistan, but also for its neighbors and the region. This is the time for close consultations amongst us, greater cooperation and interaction and coordination among the regional countries.
All partner nations held fast to principles that would support a stable Afghanistan.
The current situation creates extra risk and possibility for growth of drug trafficking, terrorism and criminality. The situation on the Tajik and Afghan border remains complicated, and we as the neighboring country are ready to participate in all programs that can help to the people of Afghanistan.
Basically, in Afghanistan, you have just crisis, the crisis of migration and refugees. And the solution comes only through the formation of an inclusive government with the participation of all ethnic groups.
We are also convinced that such dialogue mechanisms should not duplicate the work of each other, but rather complement each other.
The countries agreed to remain engaged with each other in the future and will hold the next round of their dialogue in 2022. They also called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi after their meeting and apprised him of their deliberations. This is the third regional security dialogue on Afghanistan. The first two meetings in Iran were in September 2018 and December 2019 at Nidi, India.
President of India Ramnath Kovind exhorted governors to play the role of the friend, philosopher and guide in states of their posting at the one-day 51st Conference of Governors, Lieutenant Governors and Administrators at Rashtrapati Bhavan on Thursday. Apart from governors and lieutenant governors of all states and union territories, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah attended the conference. The physical conference of governors took place after a gap of 2 years on account of the pandemic. In his inaugural address, President Ramnath Kovind pointed to how India undertook a comprehensive and effective campaign against the COVID-19 pandemic. He lauded Corona warriors for their work during the pandemic.
सरकार की अभूतपूर्व पहल एवं हमारे वैज्ञानिकों और उद्यमियों के प्रयासों के बल पर देश में वैक्सीन का विकास और विशाल पैमाने पर उत्पादन संभव हो सका है। आज 108 करोड़ से भी अधिक वैक्सीनेशन करके देशवासियों को महामारी से बचाने के अभियान में हम तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। इस सम्मेलन के प्रतिभागियों के लिए यह संतोष का विषय है कि कोविड की आपदा का सामना करने में राज्यपालों ने भी अपना सक्रिय योगदान किया। अनेक राज्यों ने दूसरे राज्यों के अच्छे प्रयासों को अपनाया। इन समग्र प्रयासों के परिणाम स्वरूप हमारे देश ने अनेक विकसित देशों की तुलना में कोविड की आपदा का सामना बेहतर ढंग से किया।
The President also spoke on how governors had a very important role in creating awareness among the people about the national goals and ensuring public participation, and urged them to spend as much time as possible in their state and maintain connect with the people to fulfill this commitment.
राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति की अनुशंसाओं को कार्यरूप देने में आप सभी राज्यपालों की महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है। कुलाधिपति के रूप में आप सब लोग युवा भारत के निर्माण की प्रक्रिया से सीधे तौर पर जुड़े हुए हैं। राष्ट्र निर्माण की दृष्टि से यह बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है। मुझे विश्वास है कि शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में आपके योगदान के बल पर भारत को नॉलेज सुपर पावर बनाने का हमारा राष्ट्रीय लक्ष्य अवश्य सिद्ध होगा।
A look now at how India is making strides towards building a new India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched two innovative customer-centric initiatives of the Reserve Bank of India, Retail Direct Scheme and the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme on Friday via video conferencing. He said that these schemes will expand the scope of investment in the country and make access to capital markets easier and more secure for investors. He pointed to how the Retail Direct Scheme will give small investors in India a simple and safe medium of investment in government securities, and how the One Nation, One Ombudsman system has taken shape in the banking sector with the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme.
Taking forward the principle of financial inclusion, RBI Retail Direct Scheme and RBI Integrated Ombudsman Scheme were launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday via video conferencing. While Retail Direct Scheme allows retail investors to buy and sell government securities online, Integrated Ombudsman Scheme aims to improve customer grievance redressal mechanism under one portal, leading to the realization of One Nation, One Ombudsman system. The Prime Minister said that these two customer-centric schemes will further strengthen the banking sector, enhance financial inclusion, widen the investment horizon, proving to be the biggest touchstones of a democracy.
आज जिन दो योजनाओं को लॉन्च किया गया है, उनसे देश में निवेश के दायरे का विस्तार होगा और कैपिटल मार्केट्स को एक्सेस करना निवेशकों के लिए अधिक आसान, अधिक सुरक्षित बनेगा। 2014 के पहले कुछ सालों में देश के बैंकिंग सिस्टम को जिस प्रकार से नुकसान पहुंचाया गया था, आज हर किसी को पता है कि कैसी स्थितियां पैदा हो गई थी, क्या कुछ नहीं हुआ था। पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंकों से जुड़ी गवर्नेंस में सुधार हो, डिसीजन मेकिंग, ट्रांसफर पोस्टिंग से जुड़ी आजादी हो, छोटे बैंकों को मर्ज कर बड़े बैंकों का निर्माण हो, या फिर नेशनल एसेट रिकंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनी लिमिटेड की स्थापना हो, इन सभी कदमों में आज बैंकिंग सेक्टर में नया विश्वास, नई ऊर्जा लौट रही है।
Apart from stressing on the easy access of security markets now being made available for the middle class, small retail investors and businessmen, the Prime Minister also spoke about the improving governance of the cooperative banks, which were also brought under the purview of RBI. He said all this instills a greater level of trust in the banking system among the depositors.
Unproductive savings or informal lending, इससे सामान्य नागरिक की स्थिति भी खराब हो रही थी और देश के विकास में उसकी भागीदारी भी न के बराबर थी। पेंशन और बीमा का तो यही माना जाता था कि ये सब समृद्ध परिवारों के भाग्य में ही है, लेकिन आज स्थिति बदल रही है। आज फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन ही नहीं, बैंकिंग और फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर में ईज ऑफ एक्सेस भारत की पहचान बन रही है।
Further, Prime Minister Modi lauded the measures taken by the RBI and the Finance Ministry during the challenging times of COVID pandemic, which helped revive the economy faster. Speaking on the increased digital penetration in the country, the Prime Minister said, United Payments Interface (UPI) has made India the world's leading country in terms of digital transactions in a very short span of time. In just 7 years, India has jumped 19 times in terms of digital transactions. Hailing the inclusive financial-driven growth, the Finance Minister said that the Indian economy has revived with great speed post-COVID-19 pandemic.
Coordination and cooperation with which the RBI worked together with Government of India Ministry of Finance during the pandemic, as a result of which many people-centric and sensitive decisions were taken in time with the guidance of the Prime Minister. And as a result, today we see the economy reviving with great gusto, if I may use the word.
In the words of the Prime Minister, keeping the needs of the citizens at the centre and strengthening the trust of the investors will only reaffirm India's new identity as a sensitive and investor-friendly destination. DD India.
Time now for some glimpses of India's rich cultural diversity in Incredible India. President Ramnath Kovind conferred Padma Awards at a civil investiture ceremony at Rashtrapati Bhavan this week. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and other dignitaries attended the ceremony. The government had announced 141 Padma Awards on the eve of Republic Day in 2020. The list comprises 7 Padma Vibhushan, 16 Padma Bhushan and 118 Padma Shri awards. Former Union Ministers Arun Jaitley, George Fernandes and Sushma Swaraj were conferred with the Padma Vibhushan posthumously, along with classical singer Pandit Channu Lal Mishra and former Prime Minister and President of Mauritius Anirudh Jugnauth. Arun Jaitley's wife Sangeeta Jaitley and Sushma Swaraj's daughter Basuri Swaraj received the honour from the President. Veteran boxer from Manipur Mary Kom and spiritual leader of Pejawar Mutt Vishwesh Tirth Swami were also honoured with the Padma Vibhushan. Those who were conferred with the Padma Bhushan include Muzaffar Hussain Beg from JNK, Anil Prakash Joshi from Uttarakhand, Balkrishna Doshi from Gujarat, badminton player PV Sindhu, former Chief Minister of Goa late Manohar Parrikar, and US-based scholar Jagdish Seth. Prominent personalities who were given the Padma Shri include captain of women's hockey team Rani Rampal, singer Adnan Sami, former head scientist of ICMR, Dr. Raman Ganga Khetkar, Air Marshal Dr. Padma Bandyopadhyay, actress Kangana Ranaut, and Dr. Leela Joshi for medicine. The President of India conferred Padma Awards over 2 consecutive days. On the second day, some of those who were honoured were veteran sculptor Sudarshan Sahu, who was awarded Padma Vibhushan for his contribution to the field of art, former Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan, and veteran IAS officer Nripendra Mishra, who were awarded the Padma Bhushan, and India's leading dwarf para-athlete KY Venkatesh and Bangladesh Liberation War veteran Lieutenant Colonel Qazi Sajjad Ali Zahir, who were awarded the Padma Shri.
Continuing the award presentation of the prestigious Padma Awards for a second day, President Ramnath Kovind on Tuesday conferred awards to veteran sculptor Sudarshan Sahu, former Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan, and many others at the civil investiture ceremony too at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Sudarshan Sahu, who hails from Odisha, was awarded the Padma Vibhushan for his contribution in the field of art. Veteran doctor and educationist from Kerala, Bele Monappa Hegde, and archaeology legend P.B. Lal were also awarded the Padma Vibhushan. Receiving the Padma Bhushan was Sumitra Mahajan, India's first 8-time woman MP, and Nripendra Mishra, veteran Indian Administrative Service officer, who were honoured for their contribution to public affairs and civil service. Former Assam Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi was posthumously honoured with the Padma Bhushan. The award was received by his wife. Social worker from Assam Lakhimi Barua, Professor Jai Bhagwan Goyal, the Hindi literature from Haryana's Kurukshetra, Manganiyar folk singer from Rajasthan Lakha Khan, acclaimed Carnatic vocalist Bombay Jai Shri Ramnath, senior orthopedic surgeon from Dehradun Bhupendra Kumar Singh Sanjay, and noted Hindi professor and journalist from Srinagar Chaman Lal Sapru were given Padma Shri awards. Rajasthan-based Pali writer Arjun Singh Shekhawat, foremost authorities on Sanskrit Vyakaran Ram Yatna Shukla, Delhi-based social worker Jitendra Singh Shanti, steeplechase athlete Sudha Singh, veteran Hindi writer from Bihar Mridula Sinha posthumous, gearman of Coimbatore P. Subramaniam posthumous, social worker from West Bengal Guruma Kamali Soran, and tribal folk culture scholar from Bhopal Kapil Tiwari were also the recipients of the Padma Shri awards. India's leading dwarf para-athlete KY Venkatesh and Bangladesh Liberation War veteran Lieutenant Colonel Qazi Sajjad Ali Zahir were also honoured with the Padma Shri by the President. The Padma Awards are given in 3 categories: Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri, and are announced annually on the eve of the Republic Day. With Sudhir Yadav, DD India.
India's Culture Minister G. Kishan Reddy joined other ministers for the handing over of a sculpture of Hindu goddess Annapurna Devi to the Uttar Pradesh government. The ceremony was held at the National Gallery of Modern Art this week in New Delhi. The handing over ceremony was significant as the idol of goddess Annapurna was stolen from Varanasi about 100 years ago and later found in Canada. It is all set to return to its rightful place, the Kashi Vishwanath temple in Varanasi. The return of the idol is part of attempts by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government to retrieve the artifacts stolen from India. Since 1976, 55 idols have been brought back to India and 42 of them were returned after 2014.
The idol of Ma Annapurna is a very special one as it has been returned to the country after a gap of 100 years. This idol of goddess Annapurna Devi was smuggled to Canada over a century ago. It was taken from Kashi to Canada and has been brought back because of the efforts of the central government. The Archaeological Survey of India handed over this idol to the officials of Uttar Pradesh administration and Kashi Vishwanath Vishishta Kshetra Vikas Parishad at a function in Delhi. Union Ministers Meenakshi Lekhi and J. Kishan Reddy handed over the Annapurna Devi idol to Suresh Rana and Neelkant Tiwari, ministers in the Uttar Pradesh government, after offering prayers. On this occasion, Union Ministers said that the idols which were stolen or taken from India are now being brought back to the country. So far, 200 such idols have been retrieved. The government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is working to bring back the heritage of India.
माँ का स्वरूप, उनका मूर्ति स्वरूप आज काशी लौटने की तैयारी में है। ये हमारे लिए गौरव का विषय है कि हमारी आराध्य उसकी मूर्ति अब काशी लौटेगी। इसके लिए मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी को हृदय की गहराई से मैं आभार व्यक्त करना चाहती हूँ।
लोग तो सम्मिलित थे देश की धरोहर को बाहर स्मगल करने में और उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई नहीं होती थी, मगर अब समय बदला है, उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई भी हो रही है और साथ ही देश की धरोहर को वापस देश में लाया भी जा रहा है।
नरेंद्र मोदी जी बहुत प्रयास करके अलग अलग देशों में जो भारतीय संस्कृति का अपना विरासत का जितने भी मूर्तियां हैं, जितने भी पेंटिंग्स है, जितने भी एंटिक्विटीज है, वो सब वापस लाने के लिए बहुत अच्छे काम चल रहे हैं।
Passing through several districts of the state, the procession of Ma Annapurna Devi Murti will reach Kashi on November 14th. Preparations have been made to make the journey memorable. BJP workers and devotees will shower flowers at different places. Apart from this, Pandits will also perform Aarti and Prasad will be distributed. On 15th of November, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will establish the idol in the new premises of Sri Kashi Vishwanath Dham on the special occasion of Devothan Ekadashi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had spoken about the Kashi Connect with the sacred idol in his Mann Ki Baat address last year.
हर भारतीय को यह जानकर गर्व होगा कि देवी अन्नपूर्णा की एक बहुत पुरानी प्रतिमा कनाडा से वापस भारत आ रही है। यह प्रतिमा लगभग 100 साल पहले 1913 के करीब वाराणसी के एक मंदिर से चुराकर देश से बाहर भेज दी गई थी। मैं कनाडा की सरकार और इस पुण्य कार्य को संभव बनाने वाले सभी लोगों का इस सहृदयता के लिए आभार प्रकट करता हूं।
The idol dates back to the 18th century. It is believed that it was stolen from Kashi Ghat in 1913 and was sent to Canada. The government has identified a total of 157 antiquities that are in the United States. Several other antiquities, including 2 for Tamil Nadu and 1 each for Andhra Pradesh and Rajasthan, will be handed over to the respective states. With Kumar Alok, News Night Desk, DD India.
The 52nd International Film Festival of India has released the lineup of international movies for competition at the festival. The best of feature-length fiction films from all over the world are selected to compete in this section. It is one of the most important sections of the festival that features some of the best films of the year, and 15 films will compete for the Golden Peacock and other awards. Some movies that are part of the lineup include Any Day Now, directed by Hemi Ramazan from Finland, Charlotte, directed by Simon Franco from Paraguay, and Godavari, directed by Nikhil Mahajan in Marathi. These films will compete for various categories of awards. And before we end this edition of India This Week, we are leaving you with glimpses of the 4-day festival of Chhath, during which devotees venerate the sun god. The festival concluded on Thursday. Take a look. Namaskar.